This is a really close-up shot. You know what that means. It's time for a scooter review. This time it is the Eahora Tiger King. Not to be confused with the TV thing, totally separate. So this is a dual motor, one front and one back, off-road, full suspension scooter. We have here, I'm just gonna come out and say it, 2,800 watts of power. So this is a powerhouse of a little scooter. It's also running, see, 60 volts, 26 amp hours. So it's also a high voltage battery. That means good high speed. I think they advertised like 46 miles an hour or so, and I think it can probably do that. I haven't tried it that much yet. I've only done like a quick test ride around the parking lot and basically a dyno run to verify the power. So why don't I just throw the dyno run in right here, since I already spoiled the wattage number. What I did not spoil, however, was the torque. Torque makes a huge difference in hill climbing acceleration, and I think you're gonna be pleasantly surprised by the numbers I saw on this thing. I'm gonna make sure to just run the rear motor, of course. Yep, that should be good. There are 5 different power settings. All right, there's the numbers for just one motor. As you can see, that rear motor put out 1,400 watts and 37.69 pound-feet of torque. But we gotta double that because we got 2 identical motors here. That's a torquey little thing with both motors. 75 pound-feet, 2,800 watts. So on our dyno board for dual motor scooters, this is a single motor, this is a single motor. These, starting from here on up, are all dual motors. The E2 was 2,048 watts. The awesome DT1 Pro, 2,412 watts. This one's gonna bump that down by a good margin, 400 watts more, but also a big jump in torque. This is getting pretty close to the torque of the Tief Galop T88, and that had 3,800 watts. Obviously, there is a much bigger, faster scooter at the very top, but for the price, this is not bad at all. So yeah, 75 pound-feet. That means this thing should fly up the hills. It does have a lot of lights. There's turn signals. These are like RGB lights on the sides. They've got a separate app. You can turn all that on. It's got a horn. There's our little headlight button there. Let's start this thing in like, say, power setting 2 and hit the throttle and go. Oh, yeah. And I gotta turn on the dual motors, of course. There we go. You hold the plus button to turn on both motors. Now we are all set. All right. So both motors on 2. This thing takes off pretty quick. This is plenty of power to zip around town, even just on setting 2. How about a speed bump? Oh yeah, no problem. I bet this thing's gonna do pretty well off-road. I wouldn't say it's super plush, but it handled those bumps really well. Handling was good. I'm gonna zip over to a nice steep hill. So this is a big battery, about 1.5 kilowatt hours. I would say, you know, it's gonna depend on the power usage, but a low power setting, say like cruising along at like 20 miles an hour, I mean, 1.5 kilowatt hours could probably get you like 50, 60 miles. Obviously, you could suck this thing down faster if you use more of the power. So here's a steep hill. I'm only in number 2 on power. Let's crank it up to 3, 4, 5. Now we're accelerating up the hill. We're doing 25. We're picking up speed. 26. So yeah, basically this thing will fly up. Whoa! Now that I have it on 5, this thing will actually burn rubber. That's that torquey motor. I guess if you're riding on the street, you might want a tire that has a little more traction. Let's zip over where we can get a little more speed out of this thing. It is a brisk day out. And even in 3, you can break the tires loose a little bit. Just got well up into the 30-mile-an-hour range just on power 3. Let's bump it up to 4. See if I can balance the power between keeping traction and having fun. The brakes feel pretty good. I'm assuming that this has some regen braking going on because the brake rotors are not that large. I can't imagine they'd be braking that well on their own. Really should have put some glasses on today. Take this nice little trail over here. But first, try and get the thing out of my eyeball. Okay, I think I got it. 4 is probably a little too much. Whoa, this is a zigzaggy. Oh, you know what? Off-road. Perfect. Oh, easy. I definitely got to go back down that. That was fun. Tight turn, tight turn. Made it, made it. I haven't really had the chance to crank it up into 5, so I'm gonna go out on the road because I think that's the only spot I'm gonna be able to really use that. So this is a nice, long, steep hill right here. This will be perfect for it. Coming back up and down. So that was 50 miles an hour, but of course that was downhill. I'm still gonna have to find a flat stretch. I was really most curious about what can it do up this really steep hill. Still accelerating. And we stopped accelerating. So about 35, 36 miles an hour. Depends on how steep it is. But that is moving pretty fast for a long, steep grade. So the retail price on this thing is just over $2,000. It's $2,099. But they do sales on them. Like right now during, the after Black Friday, but still holiday season, they're doing like $16.99 stuff, which is pretty good. All right, here's a good flat stretch for a top speed run. I mean, that was almost spot on to their advertised 46. So I said pretty good for the price, but what I really meant was, that's a steal for something with this much power and battery. That's what I should have said. So far I've only had like one car pass me, and they actually had to speed to do it. I was going the speed limit. So the last scooter that was around the 2,000 watt mark that I reviewed was the E2. This one has way more power and torque, so it's really not a fair comparison. But the only reason I wanted to mention that one because just to give you an idea of how I feel about the suspension so far. This one's nice and stable. It handles the hard hits, but it's a little more firm. So the E2 was very plush, very soft. This one's a little stiffer, but I'm not gonna say stiff as in like uncomfortable, just stiffer. Good thing this is dual motors. Otherwise this would be really slick and slidey. It kinda is anyway. I did not think about so many leaves being on the trail. Just gotta squeak through here. Tires are doing great. They're really biting into everything. Whoa, that was a really hard bump. I felt it, but it didn't like jostle the steering or anything to make me lose control. So that's what I mean about it being stiff. You feel the bumps, but the suspension is doing its job. I think you're gonna be hard pressed to find a hill that this just won't go up. 75 pound-feet of torque, dual motors, tires with a lot of grip. This thing's just gonna eat up the hills and have power to spare. I'm flying up these, and I did turn it down to 3. Now that we're back on pavement, crank it back up to full power again. Now that I got the hang of it. Oh, a little bit of a wheelie there. So there's scooters that are fun and fast, and they will get you around everywhere you need to go, but you're gonna stay in the bike lane. This one really just takes it up to the next level, where for city riding, you can go more with the flow of traffic. Now, if you're wondering why am I doing that and being in the road as opposed to in the bike lane, it's because it's safer. If you're in the middle of the road, cars see you, it's gonna be more predictable about what you're gonna do. It's just a better place to be. It has been proven on bicycles, and I see no reason it would be any different on a stand-up scooter. So I'm gonna give you a little tour of the downtown Grass Valley Christmas lights as I give you some final thoughts on it. Power, they advertise like 2,800 watts, and it 100% does that. Speed, they advertise 46 miles an hour, and on that flat stretch, that's exactly what I got. I got well over that on the downhills. I don't remember what they advertise on range, but again, this 1.5 kilowatt hours, and I'm just gonna tell you, like 50 miles, 60 miles is very doable. It really does depend on how you use that power though, of course. The more power you use, the less you're gonna go, but there's a big battery. That's gonna get you a long ways. The tires are working really good for the off-road. They're a little chunky for on-road. Handling-wise, they feel just fine, but they are noisy. On the plus side, people hear me coming. Suspension is very stable, predictable, maybe a hair stiff, but also bear in mind my weight at 150 pounds. So, you know, if you're 175, 200, this might actually feel really plush and soft the way it is. And I probably should look at the suspension. I think it does have a little bit of adjustment. So for me, I would probably loosen it up just a little bit, not too much. The brakes felt great throughout the whole ride, and the power just is a lot of fun. It's just very quick and responsive. Look at the lights when you brake. I like that they flash. That really does make you visible. No complaints on the screen either. It's a color LCD type. Very easy to read, nice and legible. The buttons have a good feel to them everywhere. Even with my gloves on, I was able to operate everything just fine. The deck has this kind of rubber texture on it. It doesn't look terribly grippy, but I had no problems maintaining my foot position on or off-road. Now, charging-wise, you will see there's 2 charging ports here. It only comes with a single charger, but if you get a second one, then you can charge twice as fast. There's that suspension in there. Oh yeah, there's a lot of adjustments. So that's actually turned down pretty tight. Got some sticks in there. So I can definitely loosen that up. And the rear, yeah, that's pretty tight as well. And actually, we do have, I'm probably gonna be all upside down here with the camera, but there's a knob right here. I can adjust this. That's probably the rebound fast or slow. So that's pretty cool. Got a little bit of adjustment there. You've got the little heat sinks on the brakes. It's super cold out today, so I can't tell you if I was gonna get any brake fade or not. Decent ground clearance underneath this. I hit a lot of bumps out there and never felt like I was gonna bottom out on anything. So usually my goal with these scooters is to, or bikes, review them, tell you what I like, tell you what I don't like. Also, find the little problems and glitches with them, and then give kind of some feedback, both for you as a potential customer, and then kind of feedback for the brands on things they can improve. And I mean, to sum it up, tubeless tires, 11-inch off-road, great power. I think the price is really reasonable. The brakes were working great. It's got lights everywhere. I didn't even turn all the RGB lighting on. If it got dark, I would definitely do that. But I gotta be honest, I got nothing. I found no faults with the scooter. I didn't find any problems with it. You can run single motor or dual motor. I mean, this is everything it needs to be for the price, and I have not a single complaint. If there's one thing I'd change, there's always gotta be one thing, right? Personally, I probably wouldn't have called it the Tiger King, but that's just me. When it comes down to it, this thing is awesome. It's fast, it's quick. I had a ton of fun on it, and if you buy one, I'm sure you will too. Links in the description.